And we're live. Okay.
Hey, that's 3 claps.
That's 3 claps. So, how you doing, man?
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good. Taymour Khajah in the building.
Mr. Yanis.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So, look, this is kind of like, I already explained this to you, a podcast about guitarists and their relationship to music and compositions, and composers and their relationship to guitar. But because you are multi-instrumentalist, you started off on guitar, you're now I would say a very prolific jazz saxophone player here in Kuwait, in beautiful Kuwait. And yeah, tell me about yourself. Tell me, how did you start getting into music? What was the first sort of moment in life that got you like, you know what, I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Yo, man, it's funny because one of my favorite songs as a child, as far as I can remember, I think I was like 3 or 4 or something, and I still remembered sitting on the kitchen counter and listening or singing to it without even listening. Was a Jamiroquai tune.
Jamiroquai?
Yeah.
You're into Jamiroquai?
As a 3-year-old.
What the hell?
Because you know why, right? Because,
but that's like complex too. I mean,
because of the film Godzilla.
Oh, no way.
He had a song in that film, Deeper Underground.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and that was my jam, man. Like
3-year-old Taymour jamming to Jamiroquai.
Yeah, and I come back full circle to it now because that song specifically, if you listen to it again, it has acoustic drums as opposed to a lot of the other Jamiroquai tunes, and some metal elements. I mean, the main riff, da 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm screwing it right now, but like that tune was a foreshadowing of my whole future, you know.
I mean, it kind of is, yeah. It encapsulates pretty much everything what you do now.
There was a little bit of jazz changes.
Yeah.
Those soul chords.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's just me when I was 3, yeah. And it kept changing so much. And yeah, like you say, here we are in Kuwait, my hometown.
Yeah. You were born here, yeah?
Yeah. Were
Same
you?
here. Yeah. Born and raised.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm technically I'm one of those foreigners that was born and raised here. But
so you're Kuwaiti, technically.
Technically, kind of.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. It's like I'm in touch with like I assume you're also in touch with your I mean, you're not full Kuwaiti, are you?
My mom is from Iran, and so is my dad's mom. I guess all the men in my family are Kuwaiti and all the women are from Iran.
Yeah, but you speak Farsi, you know, and you're in touch with that culture. And I think kind of...
Very much, man. I visited there just April of last year. And
I've seen it, it's so beautiful. I've seen pictures.
Yeah, and it's so chill, man.
Isfahan? Tehran? Where?
Tehran. Aside from the fact that it's a big city and it's like very crowded, still very chill.
Yeah.
And very nice people, and there's some music going on there, man. For the first time I got into contact with some local musicians who were in and out of Iran, living in Canada and different places, and we've been trying to meet and jam, do something, but still hasn't happened. We might do very soon. I think I'm going there in the next month.
Nice.
And they have some interesting sounds in their underground. Yeah,
you know, there's a significant difference that you can hear, like even in instrumentation and just the general sort of understanding of music. There's a difference between like Kuwaiti music, Arabic music, and specifically like Irani music. I think it's like the great 3 of Middle Eastern music. It's Turkish music, Irani music, and general sort of Arabic, Middle Eastern music that obviously varies region to region, you know.
Very much.
Very much.
Which Arabic?
Yeah, exactly. Like which one? You know, Syrian, Lebanese, Moroccan, Mauritanian. But even like Moroccans won't tell you. Like it's not Arabic. It's something else. You know.
The guys from the Gulf would say Kuwait is the top from the Gulf countries.
Oh yeah. The Egyptians will be like Dunya and Kulthum.
But in music, I mean.
Oh yeah,
like,
but yeah, in music.
They say they have the only from the Gulf countries. They have the most rhythms and
also like artistically too. They're pretty pronounced, right? Like
I wouldn't know so much because I have not been deep into Kuwaiti music, though it's in my blood. You know?
Yeah, right. You feel it, man. You feel it.
Comes out in some of my stuff.
Yeah, you feel it. Like I remember when I just started playing the oud. By the way, I'm also a oud player. So we're like I play oud. So actually, we haven't properly introduced ourselves. I'm a composer, working in Portugal, born and raised in Kuwait, half Russian, half Lebanese. Currently doing my PhD. My PhD is about the electric guitar, and essentially the crux of the project is systematization of the electric guitar within Western art music or classical music. And but we've known each other since high school, and our paths kind of diverged in terms of like you got into jazz
3 times, man.
Yeah, right.
From high school, and then uni,
and then now, you know.
Now,
I mean, I was just it's just to make a point that you're a professional in your field, you know, in the jazz field. And and this podcast is essentially like talking to, you know, people that have something to do with my project as well. Like they're somehow related to my project, and I want to pick their brain a little bit. And like for you, I remember because we went to the same high school. We went to the same school, right? Gulf English School. And I remember you started playing guitar, and it was there was a concert that you did in GES in the assembly room.
Yeah, I remember
the Guns N' Roses or some shit.
That's somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah. I think I even have like pictures of it. I don't know how I have pictures, but I have pictures of it. Maybe I have like one picture, because I also did like some kind of performance. I don't remember what, but yeah, you were out there with the guitar, and there was a singer with you, and you played either November Rain or
Knocking on Heaven's
Door. Knocking on Heaven's Door. Yeah. So tell me more. Tell me about how from that moment when you're playing Knocking on Heaven's Door, how, like, in what direction did you feel that your music went from that point in time, you know, in relation to today? But you can just start from that point in time, you know. How is your understanding of music evolving, and how was your relationship to music within your environment evolving and changing?
Man, I think at that time I was very lost.
Yeah.
Like main reason before we go on, welcome to my house, guys. You're in my crib. He's asking me if he can smoke. Of course you can.
Just asking.
And we're in the same country where I went to school and played that damn Guns N' Roses tune, and it was mainly because of Slash, you know. Music to me then was still something magical, or always has been, but also at that age I was more into like cool and flashy guitar solos, badass.
Just needed the top hat too.
Yeah. And it was funny, man. I was that year specifically, I think I was in the 9th grade. 9th, 10th and 11th grade, in my last 3 years in high school, I was skipping all my classes.
Nice. I don't condone this, but
I don't condone this too, but
nice.
it's a special case, because over here we don't get that much support for doing music, you know. And I had to chase it on my own, and I was chasing it for a long ass 3 years of high school while neglecting the other stuff, because I figured, if no one's gonna help me pursue this, I might as well just do it on my own. And I couldn't even be bothered with the other stuff, again, which we don't condone.
Yeah.
I was going to the head of my year grade and telling him, yo, there's a performance for the primary grade and they want me to play, and there's a practice session and I have no classes right now, so can you give me a pass? And he goes, yeah, go ahead. And I would go to the the head of the music department and tell him, yo, I have no classes up in my grade, and I figured I could come practice. And he was like, yeah, sure, practice. And these two guys would never talk to each other. I forgot the music teacher's name, but it was Mr. Blake also. Mr. Blake and this music teacher,
Big up the Irish.
Yeah. Big up the Irish.
Come out, you black and tans.
They wouldn't talk to each other, and so they never figured out that I was playing them both.
Nice.
I was lying to the head of my year and then to the music teacher, and getting my full access to the music department unsupervised, and I was just practicing, and so a lot of it was wasting my time because I didn't know what to practice. We didn't have YouTube was super new then too,
Yeah, it sure was.
And
this was like what, 2007 was it?
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it was like 2
8,
years
9, 10 or something like that.
Yeah, 2007, 2005 is when YouTube launched. I think.
Yeah. YouTube was around, but it wasn't so like educational.
Yeah.
With all these endless sources of information.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. And also I was not surrounded by books or anything here related to music.
Remember
all I had were like these famous classic rock videos. I also had a DVD of Green Day, fucking Green Day, Bullet in the Bible. No,
Green Day is
I
good,
love them, man. I love them. Do you know the Bullet in the Bible video?
Yeah.
I had that. That was my education, man. Kind of like stage presence education.
Stage presence.
In a way.
Did you look into what's his name? Marty Schwartz. That was my guy. Marty Schwartz on YouTube. Oh, dude, he's the legend. He's a legend. He's basically like he's the guy you find when you type in how to play guitar. Like how to play.
Let's see what he looks like.
Yeah, how to play Wonderwall or forgot what song. I think the first song I learned was not even Wonderwall. It was is an Eminem song, Spacebound, from the Recovery album, and there was like a sort of a guitar thing, and I think he had a tutorial on that kind of shit.
Marty Schwartz, guys.
Marty Schwartz.
Shout out.
He's a legend, absolute legend. So yeah, like that was my main guy, but for you it was not even, it
was straight up the source.
It was just straight up. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I watched this documentary a long time ago. It's incredible. It's called It Might Get Loud. Ever heard of it? Well,
Jack White, Jimmy Page,
and The Edge from U2. Yeah. And the way, because essentially the whole documentary is about these three rock legends from different sort of spaces, I guess you can say, from different areas of rock. They have different sounds, they approach the guitar in a different way, and they all describe how they learned how to play, and how they had to get their first guitar, and it was a piece of junk, and like it was constantly getting out of tune, and then they had like a 4-tape recorder, and then it's very fascinating listening to these stories, and I guess we sort of came up in an era where I guess the internet age was just in its sort of larva stage,
Mm-hmm.
It was just sort of coming up, so we kind of got to experience maybe half of what the legends got to experience, in a way, like in terms of like picking up an instrument and like how the hell does this thing work, And did you have that?
But they had less than us too. Huh?
Yeah, way less. That's what I'm saying. Is like we just experienced just a, maybe not half, but like just a fraction of what the.
But they had community.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They had gigs.
They had
all
gigs.
around.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that.
We weren't looking
None
at
of
live.
that.
We weren't in the presence of live music.
Yeah.
You know?
No, no live music, and also like there's it's just over here. There's a different mentality when it comes to music. It's like you kind of
music is furniture over here.
Yeah, yeah. You actually put it perfectly. Shout out Eric Satie, by the way, furniture music, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but it is kind of furniture music because like playing gigs here, it's like, okay, we have a restaurant opening up and we need a saxophone player. Can you just, come? It's a different understanding. I try to tell people like in Europe.
It's a little bit more than restaurants now too, man. They have you playing at Excite for a car,
hello.
For a grand opening of a car, introducing the new BMW. Here's a saxophone player right next to it.
Hey man, you know what? It is what it is. You get experience from
Mercedes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I remember there was a piano player playing in Fanar. There was a grand piano in Fanar Mall. And he was like really good, but he was just playing there to kind of give the ambiance to the mall, basically, So in a lot of ways, that's kind of like how music is sort of perceived over here. So we didn't really, get the opportunity to see any sort of concerts or gigs and stuff. And also the Gulf countries now are opening up, like just now. Now you can go to Saudi Arabia to see.
And it's still like very amateur.
Yeah.
Though you get big acts, but it's. Those giant festival gigs that lack intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You don't get these little community vibe, small venues where a lot of the education happens.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think there's good experience to learn even from that kind of from that kind of space. But yeah, like. So, guitar, Guns N' Roses. You learned essentially how to be flashy, but like, how did you even approach the instrument? Like,
at that time, I still hadn't discovered all the music that I'm passionate about. It was still just fragments.
Yeah.
And I was still hungry.
Yeah.
And angry. Which led me to a more heavier direction at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Straight after those Green Day days, and like you say, it was 2005 to 10. It was the height of the emo and screamo music, punk pop.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Blink-182, right? That's what you're talking about, like Bullet for My Valentine.
Even after them, yeah.
Wait, what's that band? Breaking Benjamin, yeah.
I have to shout out Black Tide.
Okay.
If you know him.
I know the name. I just I haven't either I haven't listened to them in a long time, or I just don't listen to them now.
I was like 16, 17 or something, and I found Black Tide. This 14-year-old boy leading the band.
Yo, this is familiar, actually.
His name is Gabriel Garcia.
Yo, this is very familiar. I don't know why it's very, very familiar. If I would see him, I would totally recognize him.
And they had this album, Light From Above, it's called, It got really big at its time, and I think what made them really pop is also opening for Ozzy Osbourne at Ozfest. And that happened by luck. This is an interesting story because they were set to play at the Jägermeister stage. I don't know why I did quotation marks, but and the lead was under 18. So the Jägermeister stage was like, no, we can't have him. And they were like, okay, we're moving you up to Ozzy, the Ozzy Osbourne stage, and you're going to open for Ozzy. And that was like luck and also it's a mix of luck and their skill.
It's kind of like when they bump you up to business class because economy is filled up.
Yes,
Yeah. Or like for some reason they bump you up.
Yeah.
Like, "Whoa."
And so then they got a hold of a bigger fan base, and they were good, man, for thrash metal music.
Yeah.
The kid played crazy guitar, and through them I discovered Megadeth.
Hell yeah.
You know, I don't even know how. Hey, I know exactly how I discovered Black Midi, man. Black Tide.
That's gonna come
Black
later.
Midi's for later.
That's gonna come later. We're still in the infancy here.
So many bands that start with black that I really love, but Black Tide, yeah, they were opening for Escape the Fate.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
And I liked Escape the Fate during their Ronnie Radke days.
Shit.
They were good, you know, for that type of music. And in my age, I was really into that because I hadn't discovered anything else yet. And so it went from Escape the Fate to Black Tide to Megadeth. All of whom have great guitar, and the more you go to the latter, the better the guitar playing gets, and the jazzier it gets too.
Yeah.
And they're all metal, yeah. So like this was a big.
How old were you back then?
Under 18.
Under 18.
Yeah, my teenage days. Yeah.
So like 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, and meanwhile, from ages 0 to 16, I had been consuming a lot of like Disney and Cartoon Network. And do you realize what the music was behind those cartoons?
What?
Two genres that were very prevalent.
Yeah, it was, well, if you're talking about anime, I assume it's like...
Not anime, but Disney and Cartoon Network and stuff like that. More Western anime.
Oh, jazz.
Jazz and classical too, sometimes, yeah.
Tom and Jerry, you know, Bugs Bunny, all that, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like playing in my subconscious as a child. I always vibed to it.
Yeah.
I always liked it, but I didn't know how to get deeper. I didn't even know how to call it jazz, man. Like,
you just knew what you liked.
It was just party music.
Yeah.
Cartoon, crazy cartoon music, you know?
Yeah.
And
also, like, you have to imagine back in the day how they even made film music, you know? It was an orchestra playing, like, in front of the film. This is what we're talking, if you're talking about Tom and Jerry, this is 1949, 50s, you know? Those are the golden years of Tom and Jerry.
It goes up until 2000s, man. Ed, and Eddie in Cartoon Network. Have you heard Ed and Eddie's music?
No, I know.
It's like Ornette Coleman music.
I know, but what I'm saying is like how they managed to execute it. Because if you look at like Tom and Jerry, you know, there's no audio. There's no what do you call it? Foley. You know, there's no sounds like, you know. Well, there's some, you know, but
quite a few.
There's a few, but most of like the movement, if Jerry is running around, is like. Yeah, but also there's like violins. There's a you know, so it
like vibraphones and xylophones for footsteps.
Yeah. So you know, it kind of like it acts as the Foley. The music acts as the Foley to the cartoon, but also since you're a kid, you know, you're not really like you don't care what Foley is or music is. It just leaves an imprint in your mind. I think, and that's why maybe now you're so, you know, into, you know, like basically jazz, like you know, Kamasi Washington, like, you know, John Coltrane, you know. Do you like, oh my God, the name popped out of my mouth. I'll remember. It's a guitarist, jazz guitarist. Wes Montgomery. Harry. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess maybe that's how he got imprinted. You know, the current.
Yeah, man. And so like these two genres that one was happening subconsciously and one was happening by luck of me and my experience.
Yeah.
Were jazz music and heavy metal.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Like the way you put it, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. I'm always surprised too and amazed at how logical it is.
Yeah.
There is no like randomness in it at all. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I was not paying attention to all the other stuff around me, including mainstream pop music. I knew everyone at the time that was played on the radio.
Yeah.
From like 50 Cent to
to
J-Lo
to Black Eyed Peas and stuff. Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. I mean, some Black Eyed Peas. Come on.
That's not even their tune.
I know it's not their tune, but that's how I knew. Come on, man. Just get. What was it? There's a lot of. It's good. It's good, man. I like them. They're a guilty pleasure of mine, you know.
Hey, but I have that too.
Yeah, you know. Britney Spears, you know. With the taste of your lips, na. That's fucking good harmonies, man. Like it's good. It's good shit. Yeah.
Did we ever play that song together?
Live?
We might have, you know.
What, we?
Yeah.
Did we?
We had a phase in AUK, our
God.
uni days, where we were often playing together. Often means like 6 times or 4 times or something.
Yeah.
The talent show, and then those little shows in the tents. Remember that stuff?
Yeah. Remember, dude. I remember like we had
in the tents, man. We were playing in tents in the desert.
Didn't I write a song with you guys? Remember, like there was a. We did a band long time ago, and then like something happened, then I left it, and you guys You were
Hadi
with
and Fadi.
Yeah, Hadi and Fadi.
The twins.
Shout out Hadi and Fadi.
Shout out their father Ammar al-Bunni.
The
legend.
Yep. Great guys, man. Great people. And we had a band together. I forgot what was the name of it.
I don't remember. We had a name for it. What was
Zanzibar.
it? Hey,
Zanzibar.
But it wasn't Zanzibar when you were in, right?
No. We I remember this is a vivid memory. When I was in, it wasn't Zanzibar, but then I think I was in Germany. I was doing a little sort of a German course in Germany because I thought that I was going to go to Germany. I ended up not going to Germany. And I was like,
interesting, man. I want to know more about that. Because after that, you going to Germany, I went to Germany. You know?
Yeah. We were going to Germany and at the same time, just in different kind of time spans. You would be in Germany, I would be like in Kuwait, and then you would be in Kuwait, I would be in Germany. And I remember vividly, very vividly, I was like texting you about like what's a good band name, and then you came up with Zanzibar, you know, and it was a good band name.
I think Zanzibar was my dad's band name when he was.
Oh no way, really?
Yeah, I straight up stole it.
Hello. I mean, yeah, why not? You know, and
was that? I think that was my second band ever.
By the way, just like let's just establish this. So Zanzibar, we were jamming. So this is essentially like, I'll just preface this. Like, why are we? Oh, I got shocked again. Yeah, you're getting shocked too, huh? Yeah. We knew each other since, bro, like long time. Since fucking Scotland, dude. Oh my god!
What?
Since fucking Scotland, dude.
I can't even recall.
Yeah,
that
dude, we were roommates. We were bunkmates, man.
No.
Yeah, bro. I was in 6th grade. You were in like 8th grade or 9th grade or some shit.
Dude, I want to hug you right now.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Man. Yeah, don't leave me hanging. Hell yeah.
Man.
Yeah, dude. We were bunkmates.
Wait. I did it wrong. Again?
Yeah.
No.
What? Oh.
We were bunkmates?
Yeah. we were bunkmates.
Scotland. Wait, I can't even remember.
Bro, we were in
bunks,
Laganlia, man. It was a fucking like.
Laganlia.
Dude, we were in Laganlia. We were doing that skiing, like that skiing shit.
No skiing, man.
No. It wasn't in the snow. We were in like forest. Like there was a lot of forest.
There's a lot of like forest games.
Yes, there was a lot of forest games. But right next to our area, there was a slope.
Yeah, I remember the slope.
Yeah.
And then there was an archery range too.
There was an archery range, exactly. It was
what I had on my phone those days? Elvis.
Oh my God, I was into Elvis that time too. What the fuck? Yeah, dude, that's crazy. And
that phase was really weird because I randomly got into Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Damn.
These guys.
You were that young, you were getting into these guys, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, so basically, that's how we met. We met in Scotland.
What year was this? 2007? Maybe even, 7.
2000, no, not even. 2006, maybe. Maybe 2006. I was in 6th grade. So I kind of counted like 2006, 6th grade, that, for me at least. So we met.
Yeah, I was in the 7th grade then.
You were in the 7th or 8th, I can't remember. Yeah, 7th grade, I think.
Yeah.
And we met there. But then we reconnected like years down the line. I was like 17 and you were 19 or 18. And we reconnected because our mutual friend,
Which?
Hussein. Yeah, so Hussein was like, dude, I'm doing this show, this Battle of the Bands thing in AUK. Like,
you weren't even studying in AUK.
Dude, I didn't study in AUK. I was just hanging out in AUK, you know? I was just like, I had a gap year after high school, and I was just...
Amazing.
Yeah. So I was also lost in life. I didn't know what to do. So that gap year taught me a lot, by the way. Like, I'm 29 years old now, and I think that particular gap year, I've learned so much about people, about interaction, social life that... I couldn't learn that anywhere else, you know? So, yeah, and there was a Battle of the Bands, AUK. I was 17, you were 19, and Hussein, he's like, dude, show up to Battle of the Bands, man. Like, I think we can use a guitarist. We should do something, you know? And we were at that, I don't know if it's still there, but it was like sort of a hut, a little area.
The hangout.
Yeah, that was the hangout. Yeah, the hangout, exactly. And we were at the hangout. We set up all our equipment, and Taymour randomly just strolls into the...
I was like, hey, a band.
A band, yeah.
I'm in, motherfucker.
Yeah. And he's like, do you sing? He's like, yeah, dude. And like, we're playing Led Zeppelin. You know Led Zeppelin?
You guys were playing Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
We played Under the Bridge. We played Californication, I think. And
I was like, I'm not singing those.
Yeah, we had Jesse sing those, you know, and we played No Quarter and a Whole Lot of Love. I think
I'm singing those.
Yeah. And I was like, do you sing? He's like, yeah, dude, I sing. And he fucking gets on the mic, like, just roars. I was like, okay, this fucking Taymour, let's go, bro. And we had like how many days did we rehearse for this?
Man, 5, 3, 4.
Not even, bro. Not even. Less. Like
it was
3,
a
4.
Span of 5 days where we just met at the hangout 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. And just immediately a Battle of the Bands. Then Isle came.
Was it Battle of the Bands? It was a talent show, I think.
It was Battle of the Bands, wasn't it?
There was no other band than us.
No, there was a couple, and then there was that band, Sons of Autumn, where was it? This is Abzi's band. Remember, you know a guy called Abbas? I think.
Yeah. Oh man, this like you're
unlocking memories.
You're touching some really important.
Yeah, I'm
really
trying to get you into that like okay, let's go backwards in time. You know,
shit, bro, there's so much.
Yeah,
bro, this Abbas guy, man,
he's a legend, dude. He's a legend in Kuwait, man.
I said Green Day and I said Black Tide, but
Black 13 Angels, bro.
Yeah, man.
Black 13 Angels. Shout out. The thing is, he doesn't know. I think he doesn't know me, but I know him. That's how much of a legend he is in Kuwait.
He doesn't know how much he inspired kids.
He inspired.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
He inspired everyone in Kuwait. I think anyone who plays guitar or does anything inspired them, because it's like, dude, it's a band in Kuwait. What the,
Yeah, man.
It was also like MySpace days too.
Do you remember the cafes next to Marina Mall? Garage Cafe.
Think so.
Maybe used to perform there.
Yeah. Remember Beit Luthan?
Yeah. But Garage Cafe was like super sketchy. No supervision except for
Speakeasy,
the waiters.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Beit Luthan was more like a cultural space.
Yeah.
Controlled and all.
Still, it was nice. I think they took it down, wasn't it?
They.
The honor.
But
yeah.
I remember seeing a video on YouTube those days of Black 13 Angels performing at BSK's Battle of the Bands.
Damn, man.
Yeah. And when I saw that video as a kid, I was like, damn, this is real and it's happening
Like
in the country that I'm in.
Yeah.
It was a really big deal. And I became a big fan of these guys. They were celebrities to me.
Yeah.
They're like just a bunch of kids in Kuwait.
Dude, we all knew that.
But they were celebrities to me.
In my school, they knew them. Whoever was into any, like, just a little bit of rock, just a little bit, they knew about Black 13 Angels. So, why are we talking about Black 13 Angels? Because these are the guys.
They also had one video of their rehearsals in one of the band members' basements. And I remember I was so into it's such a shitty video because it's phone camera.
Yeah.
And really bad sound. But I loved that video so much. I ripped it from YouTube. I found a way to download it as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
I still have it somewhere in my hard drive, and that hard drive is even broken. I need to fix it.
Yeah.
But my God, like I remember going to my family in Iran and opening the laptop and playing this video and being like, look at this.
It's Kuwait, bro. They're in Kuwait. Yeah. The reason I'm mentioning them because I think Abzi, who I don't know personally, that's the thing, I don't know him. I think maybe we had like 1 or 2 interactions ever, but just that's how famous he is, you know. And basically they did the show with us too. They were in the same talent show or Battle of the Bands or whatever, and they ended up winning. And we played like I was in 2 bands. Essentially, I was with you guys. Hussein was on the drums. Hussein is in the drums, and I'll on the secondary guitar, so like a rhythm guitar, and I was lead guitar. And the other band was Hadi on the drums, Fadi on the bass, me on the guitar, and just me on the vocals. And and they ended up winning the talent show. So
that was the only other band, though.
No, there were other
and
bands.
You just called it a talent show.
Well, you'd call it a talent show. Because I don't know, like maybe it was okay, fine, it was a talent show, but it wasn't Battle of the Bands. I always thought it was Battle of the Bands, wasn't it?
Whatever,
yeah. So essentially, like, that was sort of, was it a significant gig for you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would say it was for me as well. Like, that's why I'm,
It was a significant phase altogether. Meeting you guys musically. Like that was our first time doing something musical together.
Yeah.
Although we have known each other before.
Yeah, we've known each other, exactly. We've known each other before. Like, the only thing musical I did, I played piano, like classical piano, since I was 7 years old, but I was kind of like, I was never into it, Gave me a lot, because I'm a classical composer now, so I like the composition aspect of it, But as far as music that I liked, I didn't like Chopin, dude, like Tchaikovsky, like, you know what I mean? I just played it. So my musical awakening was sort of close to that period of time. For me, it was personally like Eminem. I started listening to Eminem like religiously, nonstop. And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored of Eminem. I know I know every single song off the top of my head. I don't even know all of his freestyles. So then I started discovering like Slash. It was like Slash, this guy with the guitar and a top hat, And and basically it all culminated to our show, I think. And that's it was a significant time, I feel. It was very, very significant considering that it's in Kuwait, and it felt like kind of almost illegal to do it, It was a sort of a level of like nobody else is doing this. They are, but I don't know, at the time it felt like we were being really cool. Like, this is so cool. This is like even cooler than if it was very mainstream. If it was a mainstream thing, it would have been less cool. But because it's not mainstream to do it in Kuwait, I'm talking specifically Kuwait, it's cool, Like, I don't know, it felt like we were the cool kids, right? Yeah, dude, that's an important aspect of it, So Okay, you're in AUK, played Led Zeppelin.
UK being American University of Kuwait.
Kuwait, yeah. We're like I'm tracking it. We're 39 minutes in, we're having a
Beautiful.
It was beautiful, right? And we're not even like
we're not even halfway
we're
through
not even halfway into it. But by the way, it is my first time doing a podcast, so like I am still learning as I go, so forgive me if
man, it's a great one.
Yeah?
Are you gonna do ads in the middle? Like, sorry to interrupt, guys, but
so what should I do? It like Pornhub? No, I'll bleep that out.
Manscaped.
Yeah,
Get your razor.
Yeah. What else do they? The jewel sticks, just garbage. Let's just promote garbage. But yeah, no, don't like. Let's not do that. Let's not promote that. But yeah,
what are these? Sennheisers?
Sennheisers, yes, Sennheisers. But yeah, like
they're so good. I'm not even using them.
Yeah, but you should. You should buy them, bro. But I actually think like, is this gonna? Are people gonna sue me now? Or are people gonna strike or something? Oh damn, man!
No,
so unprofessional.
No, it's fine. No one's gonna care.
Yeah, no one's gonna care. But yeah, so Guns N' Roses.
AUK.
Guns N' Roses, AUK, Led Zeppelin. You've been awakened. Black 13 Angels is a huge part almost of our lives, of the life in Kuwait. No, I wouldn't say huge part, but an inspiration for us.
Huge part.
Yeah, yeah, huge part. Yeah, huge part. I was into Led Zeppelin. You were into, like you said, even back then you were into Elvis, Johnny Cash.
Yeah, when did I even get into Led Zeppelin? It was under 16.
Under 16. Yeah,
Jimmy Page was a big deal to me, man.
Yes, he was.
Still is, I mean.
Still is. So Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, all these guys, Yeah, so since then, you then branched out and got into, if I'm not mistaken, Jason Mraz.
Yeah, man.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, this guy was my vocal teacher, man. Not in person, but indirectly.
Yeah.
How'd I get into him? I don't even remember that, man. Shout out to one of my childhood best friends who got into AUK with me. And we were neighbors, so every morning we would drive together to uni. Yeah. And in the car we would just be listening to music. From the moment we wake up, we'd go get in the car with our like bloated faces and like turn on music and drive to uni, and Jason Mraz was part of that playlist. And and then I got to he has some mainstream hits, but those are my least listened to songs of his. If you look at his albums before he was ever big, he has this one album, I forgot what it's even called. It's probably just called Jason Mraz Live.
What, the one with the cartoon? No, it wasn't a cartoon, but it's like a sketch.
No, that's even newer.
That's even newer.
Yeah. You can, if you listen to this album I'm talking about, you can hear that like even the mixing is it's good, but it's very it has a hint of like DIY, but it's really good. And the music on there is great, man. And that tapped into my more softer side. I was becoming a much more positive person. Maybe I might say even delusionally positive. It was some sort of defense mechanism, just to be like, screw everything. I'm just happy.
Yeah.
But that's not always the healthiest way to go about things. You need an outlet. You need to rage, I think. That's what I condone. Rage out. Just kidding.
No, rage out in a positive way. You don't want to have pent up emotions.
Yeah. And that's when I really started to hone in on singing. I was always a very bad singer.
Wait. So this is, hold on a second, because you sang at our gig. So this was like after you Before.
Yeah.
So you were into Jason Mraz before the AUK gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
yeah,
it
yeah.
long before, or was
No,
it
just a year.
just a year? Okay, yeah.
I was 17, 18.
It seems
It
like
was right after Megadeth.
Yeah.
Megadeth to Jason Mraz. What do you know?
Yeah. I mean,
And
perfect.
also, if you all check out those older albums, he does a lot of like. To summarize, I learned my minor 7 chords from Jason Mraz. You know,
Yeah.
before that, it was just
yeah, E major.
fifth chords.
Yeah, like
you know,
power chords basically. Yeah.
and then I learned the 7th chords there.
There is a lot of complexity to his playing too.
Some ninth chords, some complexity, a lot of funk and soul.
Mhm.
They call, if you check on Wikipedia, his genre is defined as blue-eyed soul.
Blue-eyed soul. Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's a weird. Like, this is the first time I was like, they're also okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But and then I checked out Jason Mraz's inspiration. I was like, okay, this is my first time really understanding these intermediate complexities in music. But where does he get it from? You know, it's not from Johnny Cash, it's not from Elvis, it's not from the classic rock guys. None of those guys play major 7s or minor 7s. You know, where is he getting this? You know. And so I looked at his influences. There's people like Kenny Rankin, Michael Franks, which we're going to come back to again.
Okay.
Do you know Michael Franks?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to come back to this
All
because this is important too. But they are also really nice musicians who incorporate jazz, a lot of jazz in their music. And then I found out that Jason Mraz picked up the saxophone for 2 years and dropped it because it was getting in the way of his singing during his young days.
I had no idea.
Yeah, which is funny because I kind of went in the same direction but continued. And what came exactly after Jason Mraz? Maybe you can remind me.
You said, I think it was something after Jason Mraz.
It was jazz, wasn't it? No, actually it was more. It was more of this
It was more
jazz and metal.
You were into
I went straight back into the
Johnny
heavy
Cash.
stuff.
No. I think you went into.
I'll tell you
Cash.
exactly what happened.
Okay.
No, Johnny Cash was before that.
Before I just remember like one time we were talking about like you know.
I'll tell you exactly what happened because this is also a really important part of
Okay.
my history.
Okay.
But after Mr. Mraz, Mr. A to Z, I was chilling with Jesme and his brothers a lot,
yeah.
who are also musicians, great musicians in Kuwait. Jesme had a band called the Hashtags.
Yes. Shout out Hashtags. I jammed with them a couple of times too. Never performed live, but jammed with
But
them.
that was when the Hashtags disbanded. And Jesme and his brothers started Pipe Dream.
Pipe Dream Band. Yes.
And I joined as a bassist and part-time guitarist. And we were immediately we were winning different Battle of the Bands again and performing at the most random places. We ended up performing 3 times at different American military bases in Kuwait.
I remember that.
Hey, that's another interesting topic, but that's politics. So
That's politics.
different podcast.
No politics here. No politics.
But
Unless
you can't
Patreon. No. Maybe. Extra. No. Like no politics.
Or you can't separate music from politics though, because
Fuck it, politics it is. Yeah.
What's happening musically, at least the
Yeah.
good stuff, is direct reflection of that. you know?
Yeah, no, there's there's a lot of that. I feel like talking about American military bases here, that kind of steers into
But yeah, we performed there. That's
I know.
like messed up, you know.
It's
How
Yeah.
do 3, 4, in this case 4 little Arab dudes in the desert end up in the American military bases performing for the troops on the big stage? Like the guy who
It's a lot of racist imagery that comes to mind, you know.
the guy who was like hooking us up was telling us this is the stage Beyonce and Avenged Sevenfold performed on when they were here. I was like, what? Yeah, man.
They're bullshitting.
No, man.
What?
Yeah.
Beyonce came to Kuwait
to the military bases.
What's the base called here?
There's 3.
There's 3.
Yeah, there's Camp Buring.
Yeah, that's the one I know.
There's Camp Arifjan.
Arifjan, I also know. I've heard of that. I didn't know it was a American base. I thought
And
that
the
was
third one I can't even recall at the moment. But yeah, man. I even took their tour shirts.
Oh yeah.
That had dates of Kuwait and on the back, and I was like, "Well, this shit is real." And yeah, we performed on that very same stage, but we were like still amateur. We were plainly amateur, so it was also very educationary phase.
Yeah. No, but I think it's also like, because I was gonna get into this because like there are American military bases here, but beyond American military, I am an Arab. Like, I speak Arabic. I'm Lebanese. You're Kuwaiti. You speak Arabic. We're not speaking Arabic together. Like, that's a thing that we should kind of establish.
That's for you guys.
It's for you guys, yeah. But here's the thing. We went to an English school. We're into English music, like English speaking music, like the Anglophonic music. We listened to English, we watched English cartoons. By English, I mean Anglophonic, you know, like Western, you know. We're very westernized, right?
Yeah.
So that adds into our kind of, what's the word? Our cultural and musical evolution, you know?
Definitely.
It adds into it because like for me, like my Arab side, I know Fayrouz, I know Ziad Rahbani, you know, like Kulthum and all that, you know, Marcel Khalifa. Like, these are my guys, these are my people, you know. But for you, it's like, I imagine like Abad al-Jawhar or something, you know. So that's it, just to show that the Arab, like the Arab world is so vast and so different, you know.
There's many genres and
exactly, but
many styles, man. It's countless. Many dialects, you know.
Yeah. So, but what kind of unites us in a way, and this is so messed up. This is I don't agree with this. I don't condone this, you know, and I don't think that should be the right way of kind of bringing people together. But it's Western culture. We live in the Middle East and are really influenced by Western culture. It's like I don't think it's good or bad, but it is just it is a thing that we have to kind of accept.
It's not just us.
No, it's not just us.
It's everyone here.
It's everyone. Yeah.
And like the difference between us and everyone is a really important difference here, man.
Yeah.
The difference between us and everyone is that we are absorbing and condoning the best of each world. You know, we're not taking their worst elements and implementing it in our lives. We're taking their best exports. You know, there are many people here who take the worst of it and implement it in their businesses or in the way they function. You know,
we still do take a bit of the bad, but like we try to take the good at least.
Yeah,
you know, we're aware of what we're taking at least.
Yeah, that's an important difference. You know, it's 2000. It's the 2000s, man, and you cannot avoid mixing up the whole world.
Yeah.
But what you can choose is which aspects of them you take and which you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really happy that we are taking the best of the music. You know,
best of music. Yeah. Because like I was just, you know, this podcast was like I had a game plan for this, but it went out the window. I had like a organized thought process, but I thought, you know what, man, this is the first first episode, you know, it's
Yeah,
gonna be,
we're
it might even
smoking.
be 3 hours long, fuck knows, you know. But I really hope the camera is filming everything, because if it's not, oh my god, Jesus, I would die. I would kill myself.
Oh.
Suck. But
If it's not, then it's just Spotify.
yeah, Spotify or like, I don't know, fucking SoundCloud or some shit, you know. But yeah, with American culture, I feel like it's a thing that envelops everyone in the world. But over here, like, we're speaking English. That's just like, you speak Arabic, I speak Arabic. We can communicate.
Honestly,
in Arabic.
I'm a little weak at it, and I think
That-
you are too, right?
For me, it depends. Like, I'm weak at it from.
And that's a special case for people raised in Kuwait.
yeah.
It's not like that for like Lebanese people
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
or Saudis.
Well, speaking of Lebanese, like, here's the thing. Like, I have Lebanese friends here, and I speak Arabic to them, like, but like half and half, you know, because I met them in an English school, all right? And because my lahja is like, it's Lebanese,
That means
you know?
accent.
Yeah, accent. Just so, like, the reason I say lahja is so you understand what I'm like. Not lahja, it's lahja, you know, like
Lehje.
lahja. Yeah, you know, I know everybody has like a thing to say. They always rip on the Lebanese accent, which is why I don't speak Arabic. At least I didn't grow up speaking Arabic with a lot of my peers, because I would say like "Shou kif halak," you know, and be like, "Oh, ente Lebanani," and like just start like making fun of my accent, and I just stop. You know, I'm like, you know what? I'm half Russian. I could just say no, I'm Russian. You know, just like I'm Western. You know, so you just stop making fun of my Lebanese
Is
accent.
Russia West?
I mean, yeah, it's Europe, technically. I mean, now we won't get into that. Won't get into that. No way.
Guys, it's so difficult
No
not
fucking
to
way.
get into that.
Yes, it's very, but we won't get into that. I don't want to get into that. This is way too like. This is, dude. This is like, if we open up a Rumble channel or something, you know, like, we'll do that. But yeah, no, Russia is still Europe. You know, it's still considered like, you know, it's still considered the West in a way. You know, we are more East than that, at least culturally speaking. You know, so yeah, like we. You
I
know,
always thought Russia was Asia.
I mean, it's Eurasia, technically. It's like, it's Europe ends, you know, in the Ural area, I think. But it's Eurasia, you know, but most of the people live in the European side, so yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing with the Western influence. You cannot deny Western influence here in this country, and that's a very sort of difficult point to explain to someone not from Kuwait. You know, like, how are we not speaking Arabic? How, like, people do speak. So preface, people do speak Arabic here, but like someone like me, you know, and someone like you, we don't speak Arabic, you know. We do, but we don't speak Arabic to each other. We speak English to a lot of our peers, you know.
It also has to do with our careers, man, and the direction it's been headed.
Yeah.
We're talking to a lot of international people.
Yeah. But like, look, I live in Portugal and I speak nothing but Portuguese over there, except for like, you know, some people in English. But
Well, how long have you been living in Portugal?
7 to 8 years.
Right, all right.
So, yeah, that's.
Did you know Portuguese before that?
No,
Well-
I learned on the job basically.
Amazing.
Yeah, I first year couldn't speak it. I was basically doing classes.
What were you speaking in Germany?
So in Germany, I learned a bit of German when I was 16 years old. When I was 16 years old, I had a trip to Germany. It was Freiburg, and it was like an intensive language course, and we were sort of cooped up in
You
this.
mean Freiburg?
Freiburg, ja, sehr gut. And I ended up picking the language up in 3 weeks because of the intensity of the course.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like to a conversational level, you know, very broken up, but I can like have conversations in German, especially like when you have like, you know, a good time with someone, you know.
Hey man,
Yeah, not that.
I'm envious because
Yeah.
I spent like 3 years in and out of Berlin
Yeah,
with barely any German.
3 years on and off is not enough to like
Yeah.
you like. I had an intensive course, right? It was nothing but German, right? But then I quickly forgot it as soon as I went out. And then I went back to Berlin to learn it more, because I was on A2 or B1. I forgot which level I was at. And then I got out and I completely forgot it. And in Portugal, when I arrived to Portugal, I had like no Portuguese. And I learned essentially on the job. Like all the classes were in Portuguese. Everyone was speaking Portuguese, So you like, I had to like, kind of improvise a little bit, in the sense that, not improvise, but I had to make friends and tell them, look, bro, I'm a dumbass, like, from outside of the country. I don't speak Portuguese. You need to help me out with that, So... And they would translate classes for me, like my friends would translate for me, And I could do some exams. I did a lot of exams in English, And I still do papers in English just because, like, there's a level of internationalization that you can get with your papers. Like if you write a paper, or like my thesis is in English, I'm a master's thesis. But like, because you're so around the language, you learn it, And over there in Portugal, it's not Americanized as it is here, which is crazy. Which is kind of insane, because of the proximity, like geographical proximity of Portugal to America. And everybody speaks Portuguese, The level of English isn't as high as it is here, for example. Here you would find people like Kuwaitis. Dude, I've seen 5 dudes in dishdashes in fucking Qarain, okay, speaking English to each other. Yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? Like in dishdashes, like Kuwaiti dudes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't find some guy, like 5 guys in a Tashkwa in Portugal speaking, English over a pint of Sagres or something. You can't,
crazy. Crazy.
So, yeah. Like, I kind of diverged a little bit, but, yeah, the point is that America plays a huge role, like American culture plays a huge role in our lives, and I think that's why we're so into jazz and we were so into rock and roll and Jason Mraz, like.
Yeah, but Europe is too, like.
Not in that
they're
level.
Into those
Can
music.
you just move it to the club?
They're into those types of music too.
Yeah.
Very much, man.
Yeah.
Some jazz musicians argue that they get more appreciation in Europe than they do in America back in the day. Yeah. That's why they moved there.
Yeah, there's also a lot of these guys moved there because of what do you call that? Royalties, like artist rights. In America, it's a little bit messed up because if you're under a record label and someone is an executive producer, the executive producer ends up receiving the royalties, like the company receives the royalties for your art. But in Europe, for the most part, careful. In Europe, for the most part, the royalties go directly to the artist, but the artist has to prove that he wrote, or he or she, they wrote the work, So, like, that's kind of why a lot of people, but then again, that's just also speculation, But, yeah, the laws regarding copyright and regarding, like, royalties are different and more favorable to the artist in Europe. So I guess there's also that. But, man, like, I'm just talking from experience. Like, in Portugal specifically, maybe not Germany, but or France, but Portugal specifically, there's less of that Americanism over there. However, now it's because of YouTube and Instagram.
And then you have the United Kingdom, which is also a birthplace of a lot of rock.
Yeah, but even then they were Americanized, like blues. Dude, blues is a very American. It's an American thing. I think you have Robert Plant singing in an American accent. Like, dude, come on, playing his harmonica.
Yeah.
So, and what's his name? Rolling Stones, like Mick Jagger. His accent is like American,
they're doing it too. Like,
yeah. So, like, there is something to be said about that. I mean, it's and on one side, it's kind of negative if you think about it, because the local cultures kind of start dying out a little bit. People know them less. People know the culture of foreigners. I've never been into America in my whole life. Not once. My accent is American.
But
your accent is American.
I like to think that's not my fault.
No, it's no one's fault. It's no one's fault. It's just like the environment. I think it's kind of a quirk of of our environment. I think here it's just, from my experience, it's like extra, bro. It's fucking, dude, Applebee's. We don't have a single, I don't know, maybe there is one, but I've never seen a single Applebee's.
Yeah, we have all the American chains here,
All that
except
shit.
for In-N-Out. You know?
Dude, I don't even know In-N-Out burger. Like,
It's great.
I've never tried it. I've never tried five dudes or whatever.
At least
I don't know the you know the burger five dudes,
Five Guys.
Five Guys. Yeah,
Yo, Five Guys is one of my favorites here.
yeah. Well,
I don't like it in outside. I had it
Yeah.
in Germany. I didn't like it, but here it's good.
well, that's the thing. It's like, you
But
know,
hey, it's in Germany.
it's
too.
in Germany. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe, but I'm just saying, in Portugal, maybe there's like 1 or 2 Starbucks in the whole country. Here on one fucking street, there's like 10 of them, bro. It's insane. It's crazy. There's good coffee here, man. Qawi Fransi, which is ironically not French. It's French coffee, but it's not French. It's technically Arabic, you know. It's like, imagine Turkish coffee mixed with evaporated milk. It's very delicious, but it's an Arab thing, you know. But yeah, like, and there's the, you know, the gahwa, you know, the roasted, like, you have fresh beans, right? Unroasted beans. You take them in a pan, roast them over the fire, you know, crush them. That's the coffee, you know? Instead, we're going to fucking Starbucks getting like, what do you call it? Frappuccinos and shit, you know? You know, that.
I don't like Starbucks though. Even before like the whole hype.
Yeah,
of-
so this is a preface. I think this is a thing we have to establish. We have to establish this a little bit. It is slightly political, but we are not. We do not condone genocide. You know, that's just one
Well,
thing. One thing political. Just so like we're already an hour in. So
You know, I don't even.
if you
feel-
want us to turn off now, we're not pro that shit. So like if we say something that we don't go to a place, it's because of that too. You know. But
No,
that's
I with Starbucks, I didn't go to it just because it's shit coffee.
yeah, it's terrible. It's
But
horrible.
I also feel like I don't need to tell anybody I don't condone genocide
Yeah.
because that's common sense. You know?
Yeah, it's
like,
common sense. Yeah, we should.
When did times change? When did times change so fast that you need to go around telling people you're not into genocide?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what the hell? You know.
It's what it is, man. Like
Then the thing is, people are stupid enough to think you're into genocide. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic.
yeah,
So many different kinds of genocides
yeah, a lot of stuff going on. But point is, that's like, it's just to preface it.
everywhere. You know, everywhere.
Yeah.
Even you know what I like to say. I don't condone soft violence.
Yeah.
That is like subtle famine,
Subtle famine. But here's
etc.
here's the interesting thing. You know, like we talked about this actually before. And when it comes to violence, let's like bring it back to the music thing, right? Because we are talking about guitars and stuff, and we're still like in the Jason Mraz era of Taymour's you know, life. But violence, especially the music that you are making right now, especially the band that, can I talk about the band that you're with right now?
Yeah, of course, man.
So Geordie Greep.
Hey,
Geordie Greep, shout out Geordie Greep. He's incredible. I'm a huge fan of him. I'm a huge fan of Black Midi. And Taymour here.
I thought you were talking about my Berlin band. You know, the one I was just mixing, Fish King and stuff. You know.
Oh, was I not supposed to say that?
No, you can.
I can say
It's
that?
all fine, man.
Are you
It's
sure?
all good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. To that. It's just something that people know, you know? So, Black Midi, the principal guitarist and vocalist and general composer of Black Midi, has employed Taymour as his, I would say, principal saxophone player.
Hey,
Yeah,
maybe
principal saxophone player.
that's a little.
Bro, you're standing. You have your own position on the stage, man. Like I've seen the gigs, man. You know,
Bro.
like you know. So we're talking about violence in music. Black Midi Black Midi's music is uniquely violent. It is uniquely violent in a very raw and beautiful way, especially their last album, Hellfire. I haven't heard Geordie Greep new album like intensively the way I've heard Hellfire, but he has a song called, I think that's the one, Hellfire. It is literally about war.
Welcome to Hell.
Welcome to Hell, yes. Dan down, you know. Dun, 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 dun. Listen, the sweets, I don't even want to recreate that, you know, but it's genius. It's very, very violent. And I think the violence sometimes is required, not in a physical form.
Yeah, but that's just that's what artists do, you know. They reflect the time.
They reflect, but you have to be violent. You have to distortion.
Because it is a violent time.
It's a violent time. But look at the guitar distortion, you know, the amp got distorted because...
Look at techno music, man.
Yeah, but not just techno. Forget, specifically guitar, that gritty, distorted, overdriven guitar sound. I don't know if that's a real thing. I'm not sure exactly if that's how it got discovered, but I forgot which guitarist, but guy punctured the amplifier, right? And that's how he got that distorted sound. That's the birth of you know, guitar distortion, right? Comes from an act of violence. Comes from puncturing and destroying the amplifier to convey a very rude, disgusting, abrasive, violent sound, right? So violence doesn't have to be, you know, it's not necessarily...
1950s and up, right?
Yeah.
That's when distorted guitars really...
Yeah.
And that's right after some of the biggest wars of the world so far.
Yeah, Vietnam, North Korea, Cambodia, Laos, not Vietnam, sorry, but yeah, Cambodia, North Korea, Laos, bombardments. You know, then World War II just recently ended.
That's why we can't separate politics from music, man.
You can't separate that. It's true. It's but the, you know, politics will always exist. You know, I feel like a general violence is kind of, it's always going to be present. Violence is the authority over all authorities. It is the ultimate authority, you know. We have laws are enacted based on violence. If you break a law, violence has to be implemented to punish you for breaking that law. So violence is it's everywhere, you know. And I think that's never going to change. That's never going to change. If we completely become an anarchistic society with no laws, no governments, we will start creating that violence anyway. I think it's just human nature, and I think we should.
But that's what civilization is striving for. It's heaven, you know.
Paradise, yeah. We are striving for it, but I think it's important to recognize.
Unattainable.
It's kind of pointless to say that it's unattainable because we know it's unattainable, you know, so we have to strive. It's the divine, the concept of the divine. It's something that you have to strive for but you can't reach, you know, something that you know, the idea of perfection, you know. But also there's a level of you know, like religion, for example. Religion is built specifically to keep you to keep you on a level of understanding of your own nature. We are violent, psychotic little creatures, we are, you know, but we're also capable of incredible things, you know. So I think violence is really important when you're talking about art and you're making art, and you have to control it and harness it, because Black Midi's music is pretty violent. It's it's a different kind of violence than say Meshuggah or Cannibal Corpse or something, you know, but
it also incorporates beauty and
exactly, but that's you know what I'm saying, it's the duality of those two things, you know. Even you look at the sun is a violent entity. It's just billions, trillions of explosions happening all the time, non-stop, you know. You look out the window and you see the sunset, and it's the most calming thing, you know. So there's an element of beauty and an element of
yeah, this is crazy.
You know what I'm saying, right? So music has to kind of reflect that in a way, right? I think Black Midi and Geordie Greep in general sort of reflect that in a way that's, you know, it's it's very clear. That's how I can. There's clarity in conveying this relationship between serenity and violence. You know, in Geordie Greeps and
even
Black
like
Media's
that.
music.
That was being done all the time in history.
Yeah.
Classical music.
Shit. Beethoven's ninth, dude. Like, come on, you know. Fifth. I mean, dude, like Stravinsky, Rite of Spring. It's pretty violent, you know. Pretty violent. Firebird, you know.
Yeah. And it's just good music is a reflection of life, man, and
Exactly.
truth.
Yeah. Life and truth. Yeah. But that's why I'm, you know.
Kamasi Washington too.
Yep.
He said truth.
Yeah.
That's one of his tunes. But yeah,
So
jazz does this too. Yeah. Right?
Exactly. So
Coltrane, man.
yeah. So this is where we're gonna get like down to music a little bit, because we kind of like we're talking about general sort of, you know, ideas behind music and everything that surrounds it. But like, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but so this is the way I look at the difference between classical music and jazz music, right? So I'm in the classical world. I consider myself a classical composer. I'm classically trained, and classical music is highly authoritarian, if that makes sense. There's an authoritarian hierarchy. It's not a negative word in this sense, right? It just means that every person has their predefined role, right? Composer composes everything on paper. Every single element is just said, you know, it's written. And the performer does not improvise at all. Does not has his own voice, but not the same way as like a jazz performer has.
He's even directed on how to voice it.
Exactly, everything. But some composers are different. Like you open up a score, like, you know, open up Bach, right? Like any Bach, like St. John's Passion or something, right? And you'll see that the dynamics are very minimal. Like dynamics aren't written so much, right? So there's a level of interpretation that you can do, but still interpretation within the historically informed context. But then you look at someone like Brian Ferneyhough, who's like a 20th century composer, specialized in new complexity, right? That's what his sort of current of thinking is called. And if you look at the score, it's like, dude, you know, Black Midi, not the band, but what the why it's called Black Midi, because there's so much information and the score is literally black, like it's black completely. And Brian Ferneyhough's music is so detailed down to like the position of the, you know, too much sul tasto, too much sul penticello, you gotta place your like fingering here. Everything is just so detailed that it kind of like, it's very authoritarian in that sense, you know. Some people like it, some people don't like it, you know, but it is what it is. Jazz, on the other hand, and that's someone who is like so, I would say I'm like very ignorant to.
Me too, man.
But you're a jazz guy. You're a jazz man.
I wouldn't say so, man. I wouldn't say so.
But still, you know how to you play jazz standards. You play with jazz people. You know, like for example, you know how to read a chart. Like B flat major whatever, you know. If you were to present me with a chord, okay, play B flat major 7 or B flat, I don't know, something.
You're supposed
I'd be like, which inversion, which variation? Is there a sus in there? Is this there? And then I hear like notes and like John Coltrane, giant steps, you know. Dude, there's like, I try to play it on the piano, try to transcribe it. I'm like, I don't even know how I would, like, what's the chord? It's just an all fourth chord. I know how to write it, like on a score, but I don't know the symbology behind it. You understand? You know what I'm saying, right? So like the sus for the triangle shit that you could put, like, I don't know that, you know? It's so far from my world. So I feel like that.
But you know, even that is very specific. Like let's take two chords. Let's take two chords that the only difference between them is one note.
Okay.
you know.
Okay, like with a 6, say like, say like a C major 7 plus 6. So instead of a G, you have a
even
A.
simpler. Let's just take two major triads.
Okay.
Let's say G major.
Yeah.
And E flat major.
Okay.
How many notes are different between them?
Sol si re. One.
One, right?
Sol si. 2, 3. I think 3. No, 2.
Two. All right. 2 is cool. So your options of different sounds to resort to are just 2 options.
Yeah.
That's a very as you can do a lot with that.
Yeah.
But that's a very limited number.
Yeah.
And beyond jazz, it takes some kind of musical sensibility and taste to know which one to pick from the 2 in the context in an impromptu setting.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's the whole thing. That's the language,
Yeah, and that's to me, that's something beyond jazz.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because
it's just the language of music.
But then, I know what you're saying, but like if you were to tell that to a classical musician, like I know classical musicians who are phenomenal at their instrument, but you tell them, hey, improvise a I don't know, a D minor Lydian or something. They'll be like, how would they do it? You don't know. They know the scale, but they don't know the...
That just comes down to confidence. That's just also, in the head, They have these, technically, they have these shapes in their fingers.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And in their body, and they've played them before. Yeah. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's confidence and sensibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there is that, but I think still like confidence and sensibility is important, but it's also it's such a particular language.
That's the sensibility part.
But it's a jazz language, I think. Isn't it jazz?
Outside of jazz.
Okay, well, like you can't improvise. Like, okay, for example, you look at Bach, right? You look at like Well-Tempered Clavier by Bach, right? Series of fugues, right? Fugues and preludes. And there's, I guess, many ways that you can go about it, but a historically informed performer would know exactly how and where to add little improvisational elements based on the time period of when Bach lived. So that's even then it's a very particular language. You can't add like a jazz thing. So
there's 2 ways to know that. Yeah. One is how educated you are in that field.
Yeah.
And 2 is how well you personally know and like that music.
Yeah. But then again, like in order to play with other people, the other people in question have to know the same language that you know. At least in the same family, you know what I mean? Like
and that's music.
But it's like this. If I can compare it like that. Like for example, like I speak Portuguese, right? But I can understand a bit of Spanish to the point that like if I'm watching a Spanish like say Narcos, right? I don't need subtitles anymore because I speak Portuguese. It's in the same linguistical family. Do you understand? But if you were to put, Farsi, for example, I wouldn't understand shit. So there's a linguistical family. It's 2 different languages, Portuguese and Spanish, 2 different languages, but they're in the same sort of Romance family, right? Farsi is not a Semitic language, if I'm not mistaken. It's not a Semitic language, but Hebrew is, right? So like, or an Aramaic is. So in Aramaic, you can kind of like, if you pay attention as an Arabic speaker, you can kind of pick up certain things. Same with like Russian and Ukrainian and Belarusian.
You're talking about individuals who are limited to different languages, but a really sensible and seasoned musician or artist learns all the languages.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know, bro. Like, do you really think so?
Yeah, and so like they would speak Farsi for a second, Portuguese for the next second, and they could either be very fluent in both or just moderately in each.
Yeah.
Yeah, a musician. That's not to say that there are so many musicians today that limit themselves to one or two genres.
Yeah.
It's three even. But there are also many musicians who don't stop learning and discovering all the cultures in the world, man.
Yeah. No, you have a point there. Yeah. Yeah. It's. I get it. Like from. I'm just saying it from my point of view. Like, okay, electric guitar. Like that's my final. We have arrived to the subject, right? Electric guitar, right? My PhD is about systematizing. I don't know if that's a word, but it's a word in Portuguese. Systematizing the electric guitar within the scope of Western art music. Right. So Western art music is another.
What does systematizing mean in this case? So
creating a system of understanding the electric guitar from the point of Western art music. So, like, so electric guitar. I'll just give you an example.
Tabs.
Yeah. Well, for example, that's like. So tabs, right, is not something that a classical musician would use, someone that a layman would use. I'd say layman, but really like someone from the world of electric guitar. And, but, for example, let's just take this.
Who can often be laymen.
Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah, a lot of the time. But you look at the evolution of the electric guitar as an instrument. The electric guitar is sort of regarded as an instrument of society, for society, right? An instrument that's not systemic, that anyone can buy, anyone can learn. It's a very sort of, it's an instrument that represents, you know, the masses. Do you understand?
Instrument of the people.
Instrument of the people. Literally, that is a quote by someone. I forgot, because I did my thesis about the electric guitar, right? There was a quote that I cited. Forgot who exactly, but the name just popped out of my brain. But yeah, he called it the instrument of the people, right? Now, you look at just the different approach between electric guitar and classical guitar. And just the way it sounds, it's a whole different instrument. It's almost as different, but the difference between it is almost the same as a clarinet and a saxophone. Completely different instruments, right? So a classical guitarist, from a compositional point of view, I wouldn't write the same thing for an electric guitar that I would for a classical guitar. For electric guitar, I can write notes that last long, you know, like melodious lines. You know, I can write them on electric guitar. Right? If I pair an electric guitar with, you know, like an overdrive or like a tube screamer or something, I can create some really melodic, soaring lines that you can't do with a classical guitar. So why am I saying that? It's because the approach to the electric guitar is not the same as classical guitar, but the approach to classical guitar has been systematized within classical music. There is a particular way of writing for it. There was a particular approach from a classical composer's point of view towards the classical guitar. But for the electric guitar, that doesn't exist, right? So what we have to do is go to the realm of popular music, right? Not classical or Western art music as it's called, but popular music, and learn that system and try to respect the system of learning and approaching the electric guitar from the point of view of a popular musician and try to somehow take it and put it into classical music. So the electric guitar won't be approached like an amplified classical guitar. Does that make sense, if I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that being said, right, systematization within music is very, very important for people to be on the same page, right? So with a classical musician, if I have a trio, cello, violin, and piano, I can't give that classical trio a chart. Be like, okay, here's fucking Misty or something, or here's, I don't know, like Blue Bossa. I can't give them that. They'll be like, dude, we don't do that, you know? Just like I can't give a score with everything written down, you know, like some Stockhausen shit. I can't give it to a jazz guy because be like, what? So I have to just play what's on the score.
You can give it to a jazz guy,
but he won't.
You can't give it to me.
No, but I know what you're saying. You can't give it to me either. I suck too, you know. but
you know, jazz guys read, man.
I know they read. I know, but and that's
and they're pretty good at it too. The good ones.
Yeah. That's a plus. So that's a plus in jazz. That is a plus because I know you guys.
I think, I believe it's not a plus. It's a standard.
Yes. No, but I'm saying in comparison to classical.
That's why I say I'm not a real jazz guy.
Well, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense when you put it like that. Yeah. But when you look at it from the point of view of just sort of kind of comparing it to linguistical families, there's still like someone could learn all the languages, but like the likelihood of that, I mean, dude, it's crazy, you know. Like I doubt that the best jazz people play, you know, classical and jazz equally as good. I doubt that. They're always gonna be better at jazz. They're gonna be better at their thing, right? It's because there's a language. There's this sort of musical language to it that is much different than, you know, the musical, I guess, approach. The better word is the approach of classical musicians. I'm saying classical, but it's an incorrect term. The correct term is Western art music, because classical refers to the time period, you know, Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. But Western art music is the correct term to, I guess, refer to classical music, right? So, yeah, that's my approach to the electric guitar. Like, I guess my main goal with my PhD thesis, which I'm doing in Aveiro in Portugal, is to create a system, a classical system of a classical approach to the electric guitar, while respecting the origins of the electric guitar as a popular music instrument, right? So, and that's why I, for example, in a lot of pieces that I've written for electric guitar within a classical context, I use a lot of like jazzy chords. I use a lot of idiomatic structure and idiomatic techniques, right? Fingering techniques, and that I wouldn't use if I were writing for a classical guitar, right? So, from this perspective, like that's essentially how I look at it. Like, I don't know if I explained it very well, but there is an approach to electric guitar that's way different than classical guitar. Just like there's an approach to saxophone, jazz saxophone, that's way different than classical saxophone, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I actually forgot what were like the original point that I was making, but yeah, I think the difference between jazz, that's the thing. The difference between, I guess, the jazz culture and classical culture is precisely that. Maybe it's understanding and playing music in a more liberal, kind of democratic way, but classical is more authoritarian, if that makes sense. Not from a political point of view, but from a sort of, okay, definitely. You do this, you do this, you do this, right? But what you guys do, jazz guys, is you guys, at least from the saxophone, you can
call me a jazz anarchist.
Jazz anarchist. Nice, I like that. I like that. Jazz anarchist, yeah.
You know, so like
I'm a classical Stalinist. I mean, yeah, like as authoritarian as you can get, you know, like not political, just musically speaking, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Like, see, for me, guitar was my first instrument, and I still use it heavily in my life, even though I play the sax and sing. It is the equivalent of a piano to me, of what a piano would be to many musicians, you know?
your bass line, I guess. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it was just luck that happened this way.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the musicians I listen to and the gradual change to more complex music.
Yeah.
Right after we were talking about the Jason Mraz phase. Right after with the Pipe Dream guys, the Jesme brothers.
Yeah. I like how you're bringing it back. You know.
What was I playing with the Pipe Dream boys? We were literally a 60s, 70s progressive rock tribute band.
Would you guys do a bit of Mahavishnu Orchestra?
Yeah, and like stuff like also some Led Zeppelin, you know,
Of course, you got it.
stuff like
King Crimson.
Doors, King Crimson,
Maybe.
all that stuff, man, and a few originals of theirs.
Yeah.
That's when I started to. This is me coming from the Mraz phase, so I'm picking up on all these 7th, 9th chords, different dominants and stuff,
Yeah.
and at the same time picking up on all these progressive ideas, melodic motifs, more complicated and faster lines.
Classical.
Yeah. Putting those two together. Right after that phase is when kind of went solo a bit. I was still in Kuwait. Yeah, and that was my last phase in AUK.
Yeah.
AUK was important because I was like, what do I want to do with life? You know, do I want to be in this system of a 9 to 5, stable life,
Yeah.
some family in the future, or do I want to play risky and take a path no one I know has taken?
Yeah.
And of course the latter excited me more, and I did that. Ended up going to Berlin for a while, yeah, and many other places like East Asia, different European countries,
It's crazy.
Africa,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
told me about that.
um,
Where about in Africa?
Nigeria,
Nigeria.
Egypt also. You know.
Egypt too.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, for you guys, what is this thing called that you're smoking?
It's a midwach.
It's a traditional thing.
Yes, tobacco, guys. Relax.
Tobacco. We don't do any of that haram stuff.
Yeah. In order to play this complicated classical and jazz stuff, you need to be all there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. But yeah.
So, talking about systematizing the guitar, which is kind of, if I understood you right, kind of what the guitar is to me. It's a system. It's my system of being able to understand and play anything
Yeah.
from any culture,
Yeah.
from any style. The other day I showed you our band playing Offenbach's Can Can
Yeah.
on electric guitar, you know,
Yeah.
in our London gig last year.
So, let me get this right. So, if you were to compose music from, say, if you would write notation, you would pick up the guitar as your reference, right? Is that a correct assumption?
Yes. Yeah. Saxophone is pretty prevalent too,
Yeah.
melodically, but for the bigger picture, for the chords,
Yeah.
it's the guitar for me, you know. I had this phase where I've been releasing music with my Berlin band that's like more jazz oriented,
Yeah.
but the guitar is making a huge comeback, as I showed you earlier in that tune, and I think it's sticking around, man.
So
I also feel like I need to express some violence in music.
exactly, yeah, I like how you're bringing it back. You're giving this structure. I like it. This podcast, but yeah, let's take it back a little bit because we're talking about violence in music and how, you know, violence and serenity are sort of
Yeah, that's not to say beauty is not there too.
yeah, but beauty and violence, like it you know, death is
They're
almost
lovers.
part. They're lovers. Yeah.
Beauty
yeah.
and violence.
So tell me about how you first got into, specifically, because you know, you told me you're into Kamasi, Washington, you into Jobim, into your John Coltrane. You know, how did you get really into that specifically, like the, you know, jazz aspect? Because you're into Jason Mraz, you know, Black 13 Angels, Led Zeppelin, Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, you know, King Crimson. You told me you played with the Pipe Dream Band. And how did that eventually culminate into jazz? Because you did mention that cartoons were kind of like an element of,
We're the seed.
the seed that, yeah, like Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny and
Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Ed and Eddie. Aladdin.
Even the newer cartoons, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the newer cartoons, but like especially when you're a kid, it implanted that
Lion King.
Lion
you know.
King. But Lion King isn't that Hans Zimmer though?
Oh well, the soundtrack is. But think about the numbers that had the characters singing.
yes, yeah. That's.
Oh, I just can't wait to be king.
Yeah, that's it's clear but that's like Broadway, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, which is also a big part of my life too.
Yeah.
Plays. I was always, man. Funny thing.
Yeah.
In GES in school,
Our school.
primary school.
Golf English school.
In primary school, I was the second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I was always auditioning to be in the choir and always getting rejected.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man.
Didn't we have like choir in every school had its own choir? What or not?
No, yeah, we had music class,
Yeah.
which was just messing about.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything serious. But then they would select the kids who were good
yeah. I
and
remember.
make a school choir.
Yeah.
And often they would take you out of class, take you out of math class and be like, yo, it's choir time, and you
Oh,
would be
yeah.
excused.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I wanted to be excused from the other classes. It was genuinely because I was interested in that stuff.
Yeah.
And do you remember Mr. Hans?
Oh my God! Yes, I remember Mr. Hans.
Yeah.
Golden human being.
Yeah.
Absolute.
I
golden.
I love him, but
Yeah.
I think he also rejected me once.
Oh,
But I still loved him anyways.
he's incredible. He last time this was a couple of years back, a while, but not that long ago. But after I left Kuwait, he commented on one of my pieces that I've released. Whether I think it was a string quartet that I did, and he said like, "Oh, Yanis, it's so nice to see you grow." It made me like. It was a very heartfelt thing. He still remembers, you know.
Yeah, but this is precisely why I called myself a jazz anarchist. So aside from people like Jason Mraz or Green Day, who kind of shaped my idea of a more universally mainstream sound,
Yeah.
aside from these guys, all the other musicians I'm into, like from my young days, from like Megadeth to the Mars Volta to Escape the Fate, but many countless more. I'm just saying the ones that I remember from the early days. What do these guys all have in common?
What?
Imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making beauty out of that imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. None of them are regarded as like, oh, this is a talented, beautiful singer. I mean, look at Dave Mustaine's voice. Yeah. None of these musicians are like prodigies, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They all take the cards they're dealt and make beauty out of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really into in music.
Yeah. No, I understand that very well. That's kind of like from the classical point of view, that's what I guess the classical mentality tries to take away. It always strives for utmost perfection. But even when you're trying to create something that sounds, say, imperfect, like atonal, or, you know, you look at someone like Beat Führer, which is a composer, 21st century atonal sort of composer. You listen to his music, and it's perfect, but it's imperfect. It's very atonal, very noisy, very aleatoric, but the imperfection is perfected, if that makes sense. Like, there is a fine tuning to that.
Yeah, and I think that is my specialty.
Yeah,
that is my training.
Yeah. Perfecting the imperfect.
Yeah, like
or perfecting imperfections, rather.
Yeah,
making the imperfections more imperfect, which, funny enough, makes them perfect.
Yeah. That's what and that's why I say a musician who's really immersed and deep into music, deeper than books, and is able to make the sensible choice regardless of what he has at hand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a jazz musician to be like that.
Yeah.
You know?
But you also can't be a classical musician.
You can also, man, this thing that you say, this what did you call it? Like,
systematizing?
No. You compared classical music to jazz, and you said classical is more
authoritarian.
This authoritarian system exists in jazz, man. You know, especially today, with all these new schools, and what do you call it? School of thought, I guess. You have to sound this way, you have to play these notes on top of this chord, you have to follow the changes. It's pretty conservative, and that is also partly what turns me off of some jazz settings, you know. I'm not into jazz because I like that, you know. I'm into jazz because I like music. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's really cool. I think I think this sort of conversation we're having can really illustrate the different sort of mentalities that we have, because like when I compose music, right, everything is very, very micromanaged. Everything is micromanaged. But even when I give a bit of leeway for the performer, I give just enough of it, you know? And I think everyone is in agreement about that, you know, the performer and the composer. And there is a longing and yearning to just, you know, to give enough leeway for the imperfections of the musicians to show, right? So if I were to, for example, instead of writing, I don't know, like writing everything down, like say I have like an atonal passage, right? And I write down everything, like quintuplets, septuplets, fucking just all kinds of, you know, to make it sound atonal and like rhythmically unstable. I would write that down, you know? But a lot of the times it's best to just kind of write the little squiggly line that just says, okay, just improvise like that, just do that. But then find someone who's able to, you know, have the courage, like you said, the courage and the confidence to improvise.
They're out there, man.
I know they're out there. I know. I've met a lot of them, you know. But it's just, it's not part of the system, you know. It's not part of the system of understanding, like from the point of view of classical
This
music.
directly reflects my non-musical life too, man. The whole leaving school,
Yeah.
taking a path unfamiliar to the people around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's directly reflected in the way I do music also,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That is interesting. That's everything is so correlated. But all right, well, yeah, that actually made me stop and think a little bit to kind of like analyze our differences and how we approach music, how you approach music, and like how
Well,
our
and,
environment shaped us
As
too.
Kamasi puts it, the harmony of difference.
Yeah, the harmony.
You
of
need
difference.
these differences.
It's an
for
oxymoron.
Beautiful
too.
harmony.
Yeah, because harmony is like things working well together,
But they must be different.
But they must be different. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. So okay.
Speaking of Kamasi,
Yeah.
this is so I go to Berlin, to Nepal, to Nigeria.
Yeah.
And here I'm really starting to hear real musicians, you know. Yes, sure, jazz musicians, but even beyond that, real musicians, deeply immersed in what they love.
Yeah.
Do you know what my favorite instruments are? And I play none of them proficiently.
What are
My
they?
top 3:
What are they?
drums, piano,
Huh.
and trumpet.
Trumpet.
Yeah. I tried to be a trumpet player very late, like I was it was 2017.
Oh yeah, that's pretty late.
How old was I then? If that's 7 years ago, right? Yeah, that's 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Must have been 23, 24. I tried to play that instrument, man.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I quickly realized I need at least 9 years to be able to perform something respectable with this, you know?
Yeah.
At least 9 years. I must just be in training.
Yeah.
And quickly gave up on it. But I didn't just give up on it with nothing. It was when I saw Kamasi Washington live in Berlin. And that is pre-Nigeria. I also saw Sheon Kuti, Fela Kuti's son, and his band at the same week. It was Sheon Kuti this weekend. The next weekend was Kamasi Washington. Saw them both play the saxophone. And after Kamasi, I was on the verge of tears. I was really about to cry.
Damn.
Like, I was crying, actually. I stepped out of the... It was funny because I stepped out of the venue. This was on Warschauer Straße. You've been...
Warschauer Straße, of course.
Yeah. And the venue was Astra Kulturhaus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I left that. I go on Warschauer and I'm like... I see street musicians
There's a
playing
lot of
like half shitty music, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at them and crying.
Yeah.
And they think I'm crying about them.
Yeah.
They don't know that I just had like a whole enlightenment just an hour ago, and I'm out here just looking at the world happening and just crying, you know.
Yeah.
And that performance was so good that even the recordings, as much as the studio recordings give me excitement and satisfaction, they don't do it like they did it, like that gig. You know, it was a special day, and I'm sure the band felt that way too.
What made you emotional about it specifically?
This is limitless. You always think the world has done everything, but then there's more.
Yeah. You were in awe of just how much there is out there.
And I was in real time there. You know, it wasn't like the school days where we were watching it on DVDs or YouTube, dreaming about it at school. You are there and you're seeing it in front of you for the first time of it happening in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's special, yeah.
And so he was incorporating hip-hop elements and the best of hip-hop, you know, into like all these, like there's double bass on stage with two drums on its side, two drum kits on its side, and Mr. Brandon Coleman on his Nord, and his laptop on the side with multiple keyboards around. Kamasi and his dad up front, and a singer, Patrice Quinn, right next to them. They were just in outer space, discovering places we had never seen, you know.
Damn.
And it was incorporating everything from 2017, you know, from modern life.
Yeah.
And from old. You know, those guys know their classical music, you know, I'm sure.
Of course. Yeah.
But of course not as good as a someone who's in the field, but still they're pretty seasoned. And I left that gig and I was like, oh, one important detail. I had a elective course in AUK that I took by choice one day. And it was as soon as a new teacher had shown up and he played the saxophone. And so suddenly out of the blue, the uni was like, we're giving one-on-one saxophone classes. And me and one other student or two took it immediately. That was in 2015, something like that. I got this little alto sax over there, took it to class, and was completely immersed. In one semester, I learned how to blow the thing, what all the notes are from the lowest to the highest, and learned to play one song or two.
So that was your introduction to saxophone, essentially.
Yeah. But it was just a semester. That semester ended, and I didn't touch the sax again. I gave my sax away to another friend who was playing very lightly. It was gone. That's when I had the trumpet, and I was like, I actually want to be a trumpet player, you know, but I couldn't. So saw the Kamasi gig, came back to Kuwait, called up my friend. He's out of the country for long, and he's like, yeah, my sax is at home. You can pick it up. Just call my mom. I went over. That was a crazy house because they had like so many animals in that house. I went and sat down, and the mom was like, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right with you. I'm sitting down, and I see in the corner of the room a turtle is just walking past in the hallway. And then suddenly out of nowhere, this bird is like flying.
Yeah.
Parrot lands right next to me on the couch, looks me straight in the face and goes, hello. You know, I'm like, where the hell am I? My saxophone is here with all this beautiful energy. Yeah. That's great. I took that sax again. That was a talking bird, man. Yeah. And he knew you're a new guy. I'm coming to say hi to you, man. It was funny, but yeah, that's when I took the sax again. The week prior to the Kamasi gig, I had met Sheon Kuti and his gang. Wow. Shout out to Aidi, their trumpet player, who hooked me up so much ever since he met me that gig. And I just immersed myself more. That's when I was starting to get exposed to real improvisational artists of today who weren't trying to be what do you call they weren't trying to be a copy of someone from before. They were actually expanding on music as a whole, you know, and that's when I was really starting to understand everything.
Yeah.
I ended up with a new teacher in Kuwait who she was just passing by. She was a primary school teacher. It had nothing to do with music, but she played the saxophone. She was from South America, and I saw her perform at Dar al-Athar, that place, yeah. And I was like, I was listening to saxophone music at the time, to jazz music, and when I heard her, I was like, that's the best saxophone I have heard in this region ever. So I need to speak to her immediately and get lessons. She was I knew it then that she was like the best saxophone in the Gulf.
Yeah.
She was just really fine, you know. Yeah. And her place was in Mahbula. She was like, yeah, come over, lessons, let's do it. I would go like twice a week, once a week, for an hour, sit there. I remember her asking me the first class, so what do you listen to? What kind of music do you like? And the first thing I pulled up for her was, you know, Shabaka and the Ancestors? Shabaka Hutchings is a magical musician from London. Also crazy jazz scene over there. How'd I even know him? I don't remember at the moment, but probably through Kamasi and that gang. But I showed her a tune by Shabaka and the Ancestors called Natty, which is it's a pretty wild tune. It opens with trumpets that sound like elephants and a very dark and sinister melody. I was like, that's the stuff I'm into, you know. This is a perfect mix of Nigeria, Africa, Western jazz, beautiful rhythms. I was like, what are people doing with music now? It was also a direct reflection of the world globalizing and mixing.
Yeah.
That was happening in that music too. And she goes, she hears the first 30 seconds and she goes, oh, okay, chill. Chill. Do you know Lester Young? Do you know Coleman Hawkins? Do you know Dexter Gordon? Do you know Charlie Parker? I'm like, yeah, little. But I really didn't know much. And so she started introducing me to all the like pioneers of jazz. Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis as well, you know, and that's when I started to. At first, I wasn't deeply interested in that stuff, you know. I was more interested in what they were doing today. That's why you know. That's why you say, so Taymour, you tell me you like Kamasi. You know? Typically, a real jazz person would be like, so you like Charlie Parker, you know. But for me, it's many jazz people, many like conservative jazz people don't even like calling these new guys jazz people. You know.
What would they call them?
I don't even know, man. Frankly, I don't even care. But
yeah. You gotta have it.
In the end, it's all music, man. You know, and it's different ages and times. Why we don't really have to like think too much and divide them. Yeah. Yeah. Just accept that there's harmony and difference.
Yeah.
But
it's harmony and difference.
Yeah. Her exposing these guys to me, and me practicing that music for the sake of getting good at today's material, got me into that old stuff, you know. And from them, you know, once you get into Parker and Dizzy and Miles, then then you're done. You know, you're not done. What I mean is, everything else is going to inevitably be exposed to you, from Jobim to Milton, to different cultures, to Arturo Sandoval. All, you know, the whole world, because these guys were into that. You know, they were traveling the world and playing with the best from around the world. You know, back in the day, you know, back when not everybody was able to travel so easily.
I like how you paint this. You're painting a very vivid sort of picture of your kind of understanding of all this. But I guess maybe it's really interesting because like I'm learning a lot from you right now, considering that I'm not really in jazz or whatever, but like that's you are. I feel like from my point of view, you're so into jazz that you don't even think that it's jazz, if that makes sense. You know, once like you're so into what you're into that you feel that you know so little about it. That tends to happen, of course. Like, you know, you look at, you know, black belt jiu-jitsu guys, they just, you know, they think that, I'm like, they're super humble, you know. It's because you kind of know that the field is so expansive and you haven't even touched you know, a grain of sand in this field, you know.
Yeah.
And
this is the same phase.
Yeah.
This was the same phase where for the first time I discovered Black MIDI, who are such a different sound from everybody I just named.
That's the thing. But there is a jazz element to them.
And let me tell you how.
Okay, how?
You know, so I go to London again in 2019 for the first time in a while for a festival. You know, I remember the time I discovered this festival. I was downstairs in my kitchen, and I was on Instagram, some social media site, and I see this poster, and it says, the title is "We Out Here," and it was the first of its kind. This festival did not exist before 2019, and it's run by Giles Peterson, who's a selector and DJ from London, well respected in the DJ scene and the jazz scene. A lot of musicians are friends with him. He's an older guy now, not too old, but like he's still running hard, playing the game. And I see this festival has at least 5 names that I'm deeply into. Like it had Nubaya Garcia playing, it had Joe Armand Jones playing with Nubaya and with his own setup. It had Shabaka Hutchings, the sax player I mentioned, playing with Comet is Coming and with Sons of Kemet. So 2 of his separate bands that are pretty different than each other but amazing. It had Etuk Ubong, who I met in Nigeria, also one of Fela Kuti's son's trumpet player who now grew to have his own band. So it had people I've met performing. It had people I was really into. And so many more names that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And headlining, it had Maisha, one of my favorite UK bands, jazz bands, playing with Gary Bartz. Gary Bartz is Miles Davis's sax player from the 70s and on. Yeah. And I was like, there is no way I can miss this. Immediately I get my ticket. I go there solo, you know, get my tent and all. And before I go there, I was chilling at a friend's place who showed me Black MIDI for the first time with their YouTube videos. And I was like, hey, damn, this is crazy. I've never heard anything like this. It's pretty absurd, but I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think twice about it. I was really deep into the jazz side, so this just passed by. It touched my whole metal and rock side.
Yeah.
But then again, I was not doing that at the time. I was practicing Charlie Parker solos at home. So I go to the festival. Yeah. At the festival, everything you expect happened, but I'm gonna talk about one specific thing, one specific element of this festival. There's a little group, band, a collective in London called Tomorrow's Warriors. It consists of the best of the young players, and a lot of these players I'm in touch with now since I've been going back to London. But one of the guys there, they were playing in this little tent away from the big stages. It was like exactly like the Hangout, but packed with people.
Those are the best places.
Yeah, man. Packed with people amazed at what they're doing, and what they were doing was amazing, you know. And one of the sax players there, two sax players there actually, were playing some of my favorite stuff. They were young, man. They were like 18, 19. I don't even know, man. They were kids. And I was like, these two guys, I'll name you them, Deji and Kaidi Akinibi. I was like, these two are the best youngest saxophones I've seen here. Like, I think they're the best in the whole festival from the young ones. And they're serious, man. And I knew it from just hearing them. I knew it, you know. Fast forward to 2 years later, Black Midi's releasing their second album, and they pick up Kaidi, that sax player that I saw in the jazz setting, and I'm like, wow.
You found the microcosm of the future, you know.
Yeah. Like two worlds that I discovered in the same year that are so separate from each other.
Yeah.
Come together. Like, yo, man, when I was looking at those YouTube videos in high school, thinking the best is past, and this is the shit I wish I was alive for. Back in the 70s, I wish I was at the Zeppelin gig.
Yeah.
Little did I know that 10 years later, I'm going to be seeing even more interesting things in front of me, finding each other and giving birth to something new while I'm there, you know. Like, I'm really grateful for that experience. It was really enchanting, magical, you know. What was even more magical about it was when I was about to go to the festival. The train to go there was at King's Cross.
King's Cross, with the Harry Potter.
Yeah. So I arrive at King's Cross and I see the Harry Potter thing, and I see all these musicians, all these legends, jazz
walking
musicians.
into the wall. No,
yeah. But they're like there with their luggages, all hanging out, looking cool as hell, like getting ready to all go on the same train into this fest. It really felt like I was in a fucking Harry Potter film, but the music version, you know. And it was like that was the moment where I was telling myself, yo, the closest I can get to magic in this life is music.
Yeah.
And there is no way I want to do anything other than that, man. It's so magical.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I saw Nubaya like right next to platform 9 3/4, looking cool in her like full pink outfit and white sunglasses and a saxophone on her back, with Joe Armand-Jones and the other guys next to her, and they're all like getting ready to go play, and I'm like, yo, dude, what? This is even better than being in Harry Potter, man.
Yeah.
It's even cooler.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I can relate to that. It's it is very magical. Like, I can't remember.
And still, even then, life had still not peaked on how magical it could get, you know?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I did a paper once. I forgot about who. It was a documentary. It was actually a documentary. It was about modern art. And it's really about the whole magic thing, right? About the magic of music. But it was about modern art and its kind of relationship to sort of more conservative classical art. And it was a comparison, right? This documentary essentially had a moment where it was comparing two pieces of art with the same subject, which was a bed, right? An unkept bed, a dirty bed. One was a bed, but it was a painting of a bed, and it was stylized. You know, it was almost impressionist in its kind of in its design, right? And it showed like sweat stains. There was like sweat stains in the bed. There was the pillow was all mashed up, and the idea behind it is that the guy, the artist, wanted to convey his most painful moments when he's sleeping, right? How horrible it was to sleep for him, because he would get constant nightmares, and the nightmares left an imprint on that bed, and he wanted to capture it. So he drew the bed, right? He made a painting of it. And the second version of the same subject, which is a bed, an unkept bed, it is a lady, like, I'm forgetting names here, but because I'm terrible with names, but it's a bed, but an actual bed that's taken to an art gallery. What?
Camera closed.
Oh shit. Okay. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, little break.
Little break. Little break. 1 second. So, can you hear
The bed.
Can't hear myself. But yeah, sorry, there was a technical difficulty. Our camera died.
Bed.
So yeah. So as I was saying, like
Dying
the
to
first, yeah. So the first, I'll just take this off because I can't hear myself for some reason. But, yeah.
The first.
So the first, the first painting, right? The first moment where the first piece of art in which the subject of the bed appears is a painting, right? And we're talking about the divine. We're talking about like magic, right? The magic of music and magic of art in general. The first one is a painting, and he painted the bed to convey his torment when he's sleeping, his nightmarish experience. And the bed is all filthy and like sweaty. And the second piece of art in which the bed appears is an actual bed, right? So the artist lady, she took her bed to an art gallery and she arranged it in a way like it's filthy, it's disgusting, like filled with tampons and like McDonald's and just it's a disgusting bed. But she tried to convey the rawness of her existence, right? And the argument is that the first because the guy who was doing this documentary has a very conservative point of view when it comes to art, and he praised the first artwork in which the bed appears because of its transformative nature. What does that mean? That means that the second artwork is just the bed. It's the actual bed. You go to an art gallery, you see a bed. It's like an IKEA bed with cigarettes and shit lying around. The first one is done from the point of view of like it's a painting created by the person, by almost the subject of the painting, right? The subject is the bed, and it reflects him, right? It reflects the artist. It reflects the torment that he experienced. But the idea is that there's a sort of beauty in it because he transformed the subject of the bed, of a dirty, nasty, sort of sweaty bed, into something divine, right? To something that almost magical, right? And that's kind of the exercise here, is that you can take anything in life and transform it into something that you cannot explain in words. You cannot explain it in any other way other than like music, for example, you know. So the reason I'm bringing it up is that there's a concept of the divine, right? The divine in art or the divine in music, where, you know, like a gig can make you feel so emotional, so like touched that you break down in tears, right? And it's precisely because the subject of that gig, right, it's the music that's being played, conveys elements that are so deeply personal, but not in just a plain black and white way. It conveys, like we said, violence, you know, conveys internal violence, right? And this sort of dichotomy between serenity and violence. So like the painting of the bed, it sort of represents that it is a violent event, having nightmares and sweating all over the bed and just like, you know, feeling so much pain. But he transforms it into a work of art that is, you know, it's what's the word? It's like metaphysical. I guess that's not the right word to use, but it is something otherworldly. It is heavenly. It is not of the world, but the subject is worldly. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and that's what music is like. The music conveys that in the best of ways, because music by nature is so abstract. You know, like even you take out music that has any form of lyrics, but even lyrics are very poetic. They're very abstract. You know, especially like Black Midi, for example. You know, very poetic, very abstract, very kind of even not concrete. You know what I mean? Like it's not talking about a particular thing. It's just emotions. Like if you listen to Nirvana's lyrics, like Kurt Cobain's lyrics, a lot of it doesn't make sense, you know? Like people don't talk this way, you know? They don't talk the way they write. So yeah, I guess that's the only way I can explain like the magic behind music, you know? It's an intangible thing. It's you convert the real into super real, into divine, into something like almost holy, you know? And it also harkens back to the fact that music in general, like historically, you know, at least Western music, you know, from like Passacaglia days and you know, the Gregorian chants, music is a form of worship almost, you know, because you cannot convey the divinity of God through just speech, you know, just monotone speech. You have to beautify it in some kind of way. And I think that's a lot of people sort of forget that in a way when music becomes commercialized. So at least from my point of view, the way I look at it is that there's art that's for the sake of the people, you know, for the sake of, you know, community, or like has a certain purpose to bring people together. But then there's art that is not for people. It is for people, but it's to take people to a divine place. Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I view it, at least, you know. And as you like, it just kind of it almost solidifies what you're saying, you know. It almost it justifies, like what I'm saying justifies what you're saying about how you got emotional from just like frequencies, you know, air vibrating and shit, you know. And yeah, and I like, we're getting into God here, but that's the whole point, you know. Like music is a form of worship, you know. It really is. Like historically it is, you know. But obviously worship in a more conceptual sense, not so much of like, okay, worship this God or that God or that way or this way, but no, some like showing your appreciation to something that is so perfect that we cannot attain it. you know. So yeah, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that, from the fact that we are imperfect as beings, and I guess when we make music or we listen to music, we try to listen to perfection in a way. Because that just reminds me of when you said that you like the perfection of imperfection, but it's still perfection in a way, you know. So yeah, that's kind of like what came to mind when you told me about how you broke down in tears in Warschauer Strasse, you know. And but yeah,
man.
you know, that was a very long podcast. It was we had a bit of a break because camera died. But yeah, you know, I would keep this going longer if we had like if I had an established Patreon or something. But this is my first sort of episode.
Hey man, great first episode.
Hell yeah, man! I think so too. And tell us a little bit about, just last before you go, like any projects upcoming with whatever you have, like a Berlin band maybe, with Geordie Greep. You know, tell us what's in the plans, because I've been hearing some stuff you've been showing me behind the scenes.
Yeah, man. So there's like so much has happened since the last thing we left off, which was the We Out Here festival in London. But to sum it up, today I am getting ready to release a couple of new tracks gradually. The first one is coming out really soon. It's called Fish King of the Earth.
Fish King of the Earth.
It might be out right when this podcast is out, or maybe shortly after.
Could be.
Let's see. Because I'm taking my sweet time, trying to perfect its imperfectionism.
Get us closer to God and the divine.
Yeah. Trying to establish myself in different parts of the world a little bit more. Just expanded to London town, good old London town, and have been playing for Geordie Greep. Speaking of, a little tour in March, April. Yeah, and playing this fancy venue, Coco in Camden. 2 nights. It's looking promising. I've been having such a great time with those guys, man. They have been so welcoming. Yeah. So, like, this is also this relates directly back to that last story of hearing Black Midi for the first time. Geordie Greep being the frontman of Black Midi. Suddenly I'm playing with him, you know, and that's also part of the magic.
Yeah.
Is that it's in some ways attainable.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine what you're feeling, you know.
Yeah, this was.
You see the vastness of the world, and you're like, my God, I can swim in it now, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not in an aquarium anymore.
Yeah.
I'm in the
and like, especially in that band, I feel like they give me the room to be who I am.
Yeah.
Musically, you know. Of course, we follow structures and songs, but at the same time, nobody's there telling you should play this a little bit more this way, or you should do this.
Yeah.
No, they want you to be.
Yeah.
They want you to access that stream and let it flow. You know, that's what I really enjoy in that setting. And yeah, man, and I miss my Berlin band. the Shougiu Boujoo Blues Babies. We have a couple of live videos on YouTube. They're pretty fun to watch. I mean, whenever I miss the guys, because I'm in Kuwait right now, I watch those clips and I have a blast, man. Not because I'm in it, but because the whole thing is just fun to watch.
Yeah.
And there's a few more coming out. It looks like a very exciting year. A lot of the people I know who shout out to Rafi, who's like this young master of a human being.
Bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had a gig here in Kuwait.
Yeah,
and
just
he came
2 weeks ago. Yeah,
just 2 weeks ago. Yeah, phenomenal bass player.
Yeah.
Nice hat too. Yeah.
Very like watching him get more immersed. You know, watching the people around me get more immersed and deeper into this stuff. Just in the last month, man. And it's been 20 days of January now, and things are different from the whole of last year.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I'm really excited for the future, man. I'm trying to keep it chill, but inside I'm screaming.
Same here, man. Same here. Yeah, the future looks very exciting. Even though you can get carried away by the grimness of the world, the future is very, very exciting. And yeah, life is good. I think life is good, and especially like seeing you evolve since I met you, you know, like playing with Geordie Greep and
Yo, man, Scotland, man, bro, that blew my mind.
Yeah, you did.
You were there.
I was there, dude. We were roommates.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Laganlia, Scotland, AUK, Zanzibar. Now, Geordie Greep, PhD. There we go. Yeah. Now, I also have some projects coming up myself. I have a saxophone quartet. It's going to be premiered sometime in June with a Fadum quartet in Holland. Very capable musicians. I'm going to have a trio premiering in Lisbon, also around the same time in June, probably. And I'm finishing off. Well, not finishing off. I'm writing it slowly. A duo for electric guitar and saxophone, which you're going to see a lot of because, like, I'm actually going to be playing in it. You know, not just composing.
I love that mix, man. Like, even in jazz music, when a saxophone player and a guitar player are paired, playing the melodies.
Listen to
such a sound, man.
Rainier bass, and he has a saxophone player that plays with him, and very good stuff. Rainier bass, because like I'm into guitar. Rainier bass, seriously, look him up. He's just, I don't know how, but it's jazz. It's jazz. He plays a lot. He also has a duo with a saxophone. Ben Van Gelder, you know Ben Van Gelder, I'm pretty sure. Is it Ben Van Gelder? That's his name.
I think you're mistaken. It's
Ben
Wendell or
no.
Gendel.
No. Something Van Gelder. I'm so bad with names.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Sam Gendel.
No. Yeah. It's okay. Rainier. Look up Rainier bass. Rainier bass, guitar and saxophone also duo, but they're just so on another level, you know.
Yeah.
But so
much. See, there's so much more for us to discover.
I know,
still, man.
It's crazy. Like most of the names that you mentioned, I don't even know of, man. Like I'm just so like, but probably I'll mention a lot of names that you don't even know. You know, like. But yeah, man, thank you for joining me on this podcast.
For having me, man.
Hey, man, you're episode 1. Taymour Khajah. Let's go. Yes. Yeah. All right. We out.